Your African dream is possible. You just have to believe it. If you want to come back, it's possible. You just have to believe it.
Hello everyone, it's Iveoma, your guide to Nigeria, and today I am doing a different setup. I did a video interview with Nduulwa, the entrepreneur behind Dear Diaspora, a podcast that focuses on game-changing diaspora leaders who are doing amazing work across Africa. I'm super excited that she invited me to her podcast, but more importantly, I'm surprised that it worked. So please make sure to like, share, comment below. Those are amazing ways to support my channel. And also, I'm going to be posting a link to her podcast in the description box and in the comment section below. She's doing amazing work, getting amazing interviews. All of this is coming up.
Iveoma, thank you so much for being a guest again on Dear Diaspora. I'm so excited to chat with you.
I'm excited to chat with you too.
How have you been? Let's start there. Like, how has this past year been for you?
So I've been pretty good. I relocated to Lagos, Nigeria, December 2019. So really before COVID hit. I did have a taste of fun. It was really fun during that time period. And now it is end of September, and Lagos has reopened again. It's as if almost COVID's not around. So now it's very easy to wander around and move around. So maybe I'll start having fun again, but this wasn't the year to move. I don't know why. I knew I should move last year, and then this is why.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, I mean, glad to hear Lagos is open. So let's slowly opening. And so let's go back to we chatted around this time last year, and you were just, preparing for your move. Could you remind us of why exactly you decided to make the shift and officially move back to Nigeria?
Okay, so I moved back to Nigeria. Honestly, just because I wanted to. Literally, I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, I'm giving this excuse to this person, saying this excuse to this person. But the underlying thing is I wanted to go back home. So that's what I did. I wanted to move to Nigeria because that's what I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. I loved being in Nigeria. And when I realized as an adult that it's possible for me to go, all I need is some money. Then that's it. That's why I moved, because I was ready to go. It was time to go.
Wow. And you were born in the US, correct? Or were you born in Nigeria?
I was born and raised in the United States.
The few months right before you moved, what did those months look like for you? What did you do to prepare, mentally, financially, all those things? What did that look like for you?
So to be honest, I didn't move back with much money at all, which is really funny. I didn't prepare financially at all. I was supposed to, and I did a whole YouTube video about it. And then school loan, other expenses started cropping up, and then school. And then honestly, I guess I'm not really much of a saver. I like spending money. I really do. I really do. That's why I need to hurry up, get married, and call it a day. I need to live off somebody else's salary because it saved mine, because this is too much. But in all seriousness, I actually did not save that much money. And I've been preparing. I feel like I was preparing mentally since the year I started my YouTube channel. So 2017, when I started blogging is when I started preparing mentally. And the reason I started blogging is because everyone told me, because I would tell people, I want to move to Nigeria. You can't make it there. You need money or you need connections. And so I didn't mean the money people were talking about. I'm sitting there how that's a lot of money to save. People were talking about I need $200,000 or something. And so I was like, yeah, let me try to build connections. And so that's what I did with I started with blogging, and then with written articles, and then I moved to podcasting, and then now I do YouTube exclusively almost now. And I decided, so since that entire time that I've been doing YouTube and creating content and the whole blogging thing, I started talking to a lot of returnees and just Africans in general, because initially I focused on African business. Actually I focused so I focused on African business. And so I was just talking to Africans and talking, to Nigerians and other, all Africans, doesn't matter. And I would hear the same things over and over and over again. And how difficult it was, how you need to get your mind right. You need to set to win. You need to focus on that. Don't get, torn down easily. Don't be, don't internalize a lot of negativity. This is just Africa. It is what it is. And so I started listening to entrepreneurs, and then I started focusing on returnees, and I started listening to their stories, people who either went and lack of a better word, failed and then came back, or they went and they stayed. And I started listening to them and talking to them, and I started internalizing a lot of what they were saying, because to be honest, the only difference between someone who, quote unquote, failed and came back and somebody who succeeded is actually mindset. Because some of these people who succeeded, a lot of what they did is horrible. Like, they went through a lot. Money, they lost countless money and businesses, partners were, it was just craziness. And the only reason that they were able to win is because they stuck around. And so when I realized that, I think that's kind of why I've moved back and I remained positive. I moved back by myself. I didn't move back with much money at all. And that's why I'm still here and I'm still positive and I'm still happy. It's because my mindset is on, I'm on X game mode. Like, that's where I am. I'm on that level. So there's nothing anybody can say or do to me right now, honestly, that will get me down. Like, it's just not possible.
Wow. I love it. That's interesting to know that it's just really the people that have been super like mentally strong and resilient. Like, they're the ones that make it. So
they literally are. That is literally the only difference. Some people are like, oh, I ran out of money. And then I'm thinking like, well, I know people who completely ran out of money. They were living in their office and they're, so the only difference between someone who feels they're a failure and someone who succeeded is, I think, well, one, mindset, and then two, what kind of preconceptions they had before they left. That's why I do try to educate people about the reality, and if you are tuned into the reality and then your mindset is strong, you're the type of person who's going to win. But if you come back with, you don't have the right mindset, or you have the wrong, conceptions about how life is, then you are set up to fail, right? Because that's it. It's literally your mind and your preconceptions that is the difference between a winner, and I don't say winner and failure, but somebody who stays and somebody who leads. That's better.
Wow. And I guess let's talk a bit about those realities. So what are some of the, I guess, realizations that you had, like when you got to Lagos?
So I guess one of them is how expensive it can be to live here. So so here's the thing. Actually, one of the realities is that it can be expensive to live here, especially if you live in like the bougie, ritzy areas, right? It's almost like American prices. Like, and it's very interesting because we're in a developing nation. Like, why is it so expensive? But you're going to be spending, if you go out, if you go out partying here, hey, if you do anything like fun, like you're more than likely going to spend some money. So I guess I got hip to that. Like, it's expensive, but it's not that big of a deal. But number two, the traffic. So everyone told me, even when I came back, I saw the traffic, how bad it was. But there's a difference in knowing something is bad and then actually experiencing it day after day. So the traffic can really wear you down. Like, before, I remember I met a returnee who left Nigeria, and she was saying that it was primarily the traffic. And at the time I was like, but I asked her, I said, didn't you know the traffic was bad before you got there? She said, yeah, but there's something different about sitting in traffic 6 to 9 hours a day, right? So I was like, yeah, that's something bad. So even me at this time, like, just last week, Friday, I drove, let me stay focused. So the traffic can get you down. The traffic can mentally wear you down because life is already kind of stressful here in general. And then on top of that, you're adding hours in traffic where you're probably driving. So it actually can get you down. And then 3, a lot of Nigerians are suffering. I already knew a lot of Nigerians are suffering, but I guess when I moved back and then really started getting clued into the culture and really became kind of Nigerian, because I'm going to be honest, everyone told me, even though, I'm Igbo, my parents were born in Nigeria and I was born in the US, everyone told me, oh, you're not Nigerian, Like, just because you're not Nigerian. That's what everyone said, tell me. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm American. Cool, whatever. So when I came back, I was like, I felt like very American. And then there was a point in time I was like, okay, I'm like Nigerian American. And then I moved, now a full-fledged Nigerian.
Yeah.
I feel that was like a mental process, right? Because some of I had to learn the behaviors and what to say how to behave, you know, and that's real too. That's fine. That's normal for any move. And then I guess another reality, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I went back to Nigerians are suffering. So when I feel like is when I became Nigerian is when I actually just sat around and I was like, wow, hey, people are suffering. Their lives are horrible. Like, and then you start talking to them and he said, there's a saying here. It's called Nigerians are smiling and suffering. That's like the saying, Nigerians are smiling and suffering, which is actually true. And so I would be around and I'm talking to people and I'm like, okay, well, like, why can't you do this? They're like, oh, I haven't been paid salary. And I'm like, okay, how long haven't you been paid salary? And they're like, oh, I haven't been paid salary for 3-4 months. And I'm like, why are you still going to work? And they're like, well, because they may pay me salary. And some people, what they do is they won't pay you for 3 or 4 months. And then suddenly they're going to pay you for all 3 or 4 months. Or they're going to take off, maybe they'll pay you for 2 months out of that 3 or 4, you know? So they're waiting around for that something. And then how even, you know, classism is a huge thing here and tribalism. I wasn't really clued into that before either, because again, I just wasn't here. That's something that you have experienced here, because in the States, everyone Black is the same, right? But here, no, that's not the case. Like, first of all, I'm not even Black here. I'm Igbo, like, or I'm Nigerian. I'm not really, I'm going to say, I don't feel like a Black person here, you know? People are definitely categorized by their tribe and what country they come from. So I guess I just became a lot more realistic of when I came here, of what Nigerians are facing. You know, I think the class system, I think the systemic poverty. When I did a video about how many Nigerians were actually living in like poverty. When I'm talking about poverty, I'm talking about making like $300 a year or less than 1,000. I think the poverty was like less than $1,000 US a year. And it's like, oh my God, like, it's just, you can't even imagine it, because here, like, there's no help for you. You either do it or you die. You either do it or you starve to death. You either hustle or you don't. Like, I didn't even realize all this stuff until I moved back. And then now when Nigerians are talking and I'm reading stuff online or they're talking in the news, I get it now. Because before I'd be like, oh, why can't they do this? Why can't they do that? Why can't they do this? And now I'm like, oh, I know why. I already know what it is. I know why that didn't happen. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, for that.
Man, see, every time I go back home, I also have kind of experienced the same things where I'm like, damn, like, my life is completely different here in the US than the average person back home.
Oh my gosh, it is so different. And it's not even just that. It's like, that's why there's such a big disconnect. Because sometimes I read stuff online and I'd be like, why do you even, like, from like Americans who are commenting about African issues, and you can always tell an American online, I'm sorry, from the comments, you can always tell an American online, I'm like, what's going on? And or like, I can tell when someone's foreign or not familiar with how to do anything in Africa, any African country. And they leave these comments and I'm reading it like, wow, you're so clueless. And that cluelessness, like, that inability to connect with another person's like culture is the reason for a lot of confusion and just miscommunication. Because I feel like even my content, I have a YouTube channel and my content has improved dramatically. Oh my gosh, the content I've been producing since moving back, is so much better than anything I've been producing before, because now I'm here, I'm in the juice. I understand what's happening. I'm asking people, I'm talking to people, like, maybe I should probably record this conversation, but I'm chatting and I'm talking and I'm clued in and I'm paying attention. And now I'm like, oh, I get it. I understand why that wasn't done. I understand this, I understand that. And I did not have that understanding when I was in States. So I can understand why when I was talking to like Nigerians, my parents, or talking to my cousins who grew up in Nigeria and then moved to the States, when I would tell them certain things I wanted to do here, they would tell me, you're not Nigerian, you're not thinking like a Nigerian, because it's true, I wasn't. I was not thinking like a Nigerian. I wasn't clued in. I didn't know what to do. And now I'm like, I get it.
Wow. I mean, I'm so happy for you. I'm happy that you are back home, sticking to it, like, you know, navigating, living in Lagos, and also just being very, like, you're paying attention. I love that you're like not just like, oh, I'm living in my little bubble in my nice, house and, whatever's happening outside. Right.
Yeah, it's very easy to live in the expat area. The reason let me tell you, the reason that I think that I have been able to pay attention is because of the area I live in. Because I actually live in I live in Ibeju, which is just primarily like Nigerians. Although there's there is some foreigners here, but they're from like the other developing nations, Okay. So we're all living the same kind of life. I'm living like an actual Nigerian versus if I moved to Lekki Phase 1 or VI or some exclusive spot, I would not know nothing. I'll be rubbing shoulders with other people like me and just keep it moving.
Wow. And so you've been able to connect with other people that have returned to Nigeria, right? Like what's that been like mingling with folks?
It's actually okay. So when I landed, I'm going to tell you the time frame. So I'm landed December 10th, 2019, right? So I was sick till January. I got sick. I got weird. It was very strange. It was a very strange illness, but I was sick for like, let's say a month. So I was sick till January 10th, right? So yeah, I know it was crazy. I was a little bit scared because I actually never get sick. And then I think it was the stress of moving by myself and then the sand, like getting in my throat. I don't know, like it was Hamilton season. I think it was the season. I think it was a lot of things. It was just stress. So I was sick for a full month. That whole month I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything other than set up my apartment because I was coughing. You don't take anyone coughing around. That's horrible. So January 10th to March, like, is when I was able to go out and meet people. And then I stopped from March till August. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I can answer your question that much. Like how I was able to connect with people though is through Instagram, like through WhatsApp. I was joining random WhatsApp groups or people would add me to random WhatsApp groups. And then I would pay attention to the conversation, reach out to people. Facebook, but Facebook kicked me off. And then Instagram. Oh my gosh, I met so many people on Instagram. Instagram is awesome for connecting with returnees. And then you get to see like a little bit of their personality before you DM them. So that's my experience. That's why I want to give you a time frame because I have been here for almost 10 months and I only had like 3 months of networking in person, but it was so much fun those 3 months.
Oh, I bet. Right. I mean, we're kind of still in the, in the middle of a global pandemic. So that question
Exactly.
Obviously you're not, out and about mingling with folks.
Really not. And there's not that many, there's like, okay, so I told you Lagos is opening up, but again, there's really no events, like in-person events, clubs, I think just opened up last week, maybe. Restaurants have opened up, but I went to a restaurant last Saturday and honestly, there wasn't anybody there. I went to a restaurant to like meet with a returnee, but there wasn't anybody there. We were there for a long time, just chatting, So I don't know, man. Like you said, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, so.
Exactly. And so what helps you like adjust to being back home? So like I saw, you mentioned that you live in an apartment. Like, how did you find that apartment? Like, let's start there.
I found this apartment through my aunt. So when I so what happened is I told my parents in October, I bought my plane ticket to Nigeria October 1st. I woke up in the middle of the night and it was like, yeah, I need to buy this plane ticket. Like, I need to go. It's time to leave. Let's just wrap this up. I'm done. Like, that's how I am sometimes. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. We're over this. So October 1st, I woke up in the middle of the night and told my parents, like, look, and I bought a plane ticket and then I sent my parents the plane ticket. And they said, okay, fine. And then 1 month later, my little brother gives me like an old, like Infinity, it's like a 2002 Infinity, like truck, SUV. And I park it at my parents' house because I told my brother and my sister, like, look, I'm moving to Nigeria. They said, okay, cool. So my brother gives me this truck, like as a, like to support me, and gives to me and I park it at my parents' house because I live in Newark. I was not Newark, New Jersey. I was not about to park nothing on the street of Newark, New Jersey, and park a packet full of anything. That's a horrible idea. So I parked that car at my parents' house, and I went to Sam's Club, I went to Costco, Walmart, and just bought up everything I felt like I needed, like knives, cutlery, like internet, like stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so when my parents saw that, because this is like November, right? Because like a month later, that's when I started doing that. My parents came back home, and they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm packing my car for Nigeria." They said, "Wait, what? You never told us you were moving to Nigeria?" I'm like, are we suffering from cognitive dissonance? Like, what's going on? I said, "I sent you the plane ticket." My parents said, and I kid you not, they both looked at me and said, "Anybody could buy a plane ticket anywhere." They're like, "So you bought a plane ticket for December?" And
wow. And it was one way, huh?
And and I said to them, they're like, "So you could have just went there and then went to the airport and bought a plane ticket back." Like, and they're like, "It's Nigeria. You're Nigerian. What's the big deal?" But when they said that, when they saw that I was actually moving, that's when they are like, wait a minute. How you can get an apartment? How you can do this? And so I told them, I was like, I was going to get an apartment through Rent Small, because there are some diaspora focused rental companies that you pay once a month rent to. And I was going to do it through them. My parents were like, "No, let's find you an apartment." Although I paid for it, but my parents sent my aunts to find me an apartment. That's why I'm so far out here, because had I just done what I wanted to do, I'll probably be living like some bougie life in Leggy Phase 1. But anyway, so my parents told my aunt to look for an apartment for me. And so she found this one. And honestly, I'm going to tell you guys, your car situation and the apartment situation is what's going to make your time amazing. Like if you get that, because even if I had no plans on having my parents help me find anything, but because they were so concerned and so worried, and I am the first daughter, so I was like, fine. Like my aunt found it. And so the reason we felt comfortable with that is because my aunt did see the land in person, right? It's not like, she saw the apartment in person and sent us video, so we knew it was real. She spoke to the landlord. She spoke to I live on an estate. An estate is a gated community. Okay. And she spoke to the estate, the head of estate. She did a lot, and she just verified it was real. So I paid before I came. So when I came, I had the apartment and I had to set it up. That took some time, I'm going to be honest, because here you don't get stuff moving ready. You have to fumigate yourself. I had to add some door. It was crazy. I had to do a lot. Yeah.
And you're renting, correct?
I'm renting. Yeah. You see.
Wow.
When you rent in Nigeria, or I don't know if it's just Lagos, but let me say Lagos. I know Lagos. If you rent in Lagos, you kind of act as if the house is your own. So the only thing you cannot do is you cannot knock down walls. Like I can't knock down walls, but everything up till knock down walls, I can do. If I wanted to add a washing machine into the kitchen or dryer, no, not dryer, sorry. This is Africa. I'm sorry, if I wanted to add a washing machine into the kitchen, I can do that. I can do anything. I could drill holes. I can do whatever, but the only thing I cannot do is knock down walls. I can't get rid of the doors, the main doors, but everything else I can do. It's very strange.
Wow. Interesting. And I believe, I know back home where I'm from, a lot of times you pay rent 3 months ahead or 6 months ahead. Is that your situation also?
In Nigeria, you pay rent 12 to 24 months ahead. So I paid rent only 12 months ahead. I said only.
Only 12 months ahead. That's it.
Only 12. No, that's a big expense. That's why that's one of the reasons that so many people here live with their parents for so long. Men and women, they just live they literally live with their parents till they get married. And it's because the rent is so expensive, and it's just, you have to pay upfront, for everything. Anything you get here, anytime you see a Nigerian with anything, they paid upfront, the car, anything. They paid up front for that, whatever it is. They own it. Yeah.
And are you open to sharing how much it costs you to rent for a year?
Oh yeah. It was I have a 3-bedroom. I did a video on it. I think it was $5,000 for a year. It's a little over, maybe almost 6.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was, to me, it's not that bad, but it's You know, a lot of people are paying in Naira, right? So I paid in Naira, of course, but
Right.
I mean, I was changing it from dollar, right? But it's hard. That's a lot of Naira. It's like, I think it's like, it was 1.96 million Naira at the time.
Oh my gosh. So like the average person probably can't afford that then, right?
No.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Wow.
Like, the people who live here are people who either they have businesses around here, they have good jobs, or because the estate I live in honestly is mostly Nigerians. But they have jobs, they have cars, they're doing well, or they're doing at least so they're doing well. They really are. We are living a different life than the average Nigerian. Which is why there are homes that are not in states. There are homes, so I'm living in an estate because it's security and it's a gated community, but there are homes outside of this estate that are not gated. They're just, they're just there. So, yeah.
Wow. And so for, let's say someone was interested in kind of following your path and they want to move to Lagos, how much money should they be like earning a month to be able to like afford rent, pay other bills and expenses, have enough for nightlife, whatever? Like how much do you need to be bringing in to be comfortable?
I'm going to say that you need to be bringing in, it's not that, okay, $1,500 to $2,000 a month. You would be living well, which is not that much. But the thing is, it's kind of a lot if you get paid in Naira. But if you have something that brings you USD, that's not a lot. That's something you could do. Right. You could hustle on Fiverr or whatever it is that people are doing, online. You could do that. But in Naira, it's kind of a lot of money. So I'm going to say an average returnee would want at least $1,000 a month, just so they can feel comfortable and just have a little bit of the comforts that they're accustomed to. Because here's the thing, because life is stressful here. When I mean by life is stressful, I'm talking about, like, I told you right now, right before this started, my home internet is down today, but I'm going to use data, and let's hope, fingers crossed, my data doesn't go down either. That's a stress. Or the lights go off right now. Right now the light is off because there's no light. Like the light went off, or it's just like these little things that this after a while can add to a lot, right? The water pump, they say bust here, like it's not working. It's just randomly. It's like every day. It's not like the next day, which is why I like it, but it's also why it's stressful because it's not predictable. Like right now, I don't have my car because the fuel pump busts, and then I replaced it, and then the Kickstarter. I'm keep on saying bust, but it's like broke or no longer working. Like, what is the word that I'm trying to say? It is no longer working. And it's because the roads are so bad here that they like really do mess up your car. Like they mess up the sensors. They just mess up like things in your car that you wouldn't think about.
Wow.
Yeah.
So from like potholes and stuff, you mean? And
I feel like it's not just potholes. I would say I'm driving through craters. I'm driving through mud. I'm driving through mud slides. Different times that I felt like my car was sliding off the road. So I just switched it into like the third gear. I'm like, stay steady, Iveoma, stay steady.
Mudslides? Oh my gosh.
I'm saying that like, it's just because where I live is just, the road is so bad.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm driving through like other people are calling it puddles. That's not a puddle. A puddle is at the size of a room. That's not a puddle, like that's the things that kind of mess up your car because, that's why I was really worried about like rain. And that's why I'm going to tell you guys, if you guys are relocating to Nigeria or Lagos, Nigeria, get an SUV. Thank goodness my little bro talked me out of I had a Corolla completely paid off in the States, 2014 Corolla, which I should just sell. Cause I was like, I thought I would have been back already, like sold it and then come back again. But look, I don't know what that's going to happen. So honestly, thank goodness my little bro and my sister were like, please, Iveoma, do not bring that Corolla nowhere. Because there would have been moments that I wouldn't have been able to drive it at all. Sometimes people park their smaller cars and then drive like an SUV or like a truck, an actual truck. So yeah, it's just the roads that make it like almost treacherous sometimes driving.
So remind me of like the kind of work you do, you're still doing your online business, right?
I am an attorney in the States, and I'm still doing my contract business. And now I'm starting to get involved with like little businesses here and there because of my YouTube channel. Oh, also, I started making way more money on my YouTube channel. You know, when I came back, I was making on my YouTube channel, like I was making like $50 every other month. Yeah, so I was making $100 every 2 months, right, from YouTube. And I was like, who cares? This is play money, right? This is not even play money. That's not even play money. That's just nonsense. So then it jumped up to like, I was starting to make $200 and $350, and then now I make like over that. I make over, and so it's nice money. Now it's starting to get like nice money.
Yes.
And that's why you're probably seeing more videos from me. Because I'm like, look, it's time to start making some money from these ads. It's time to get these sponsors. It's time to get this money because I do love what I do. And it's time for me to make money from it. I've spent so long doing it. Like, it's time to make some money. And the money I make is nice. It's nice, I think, especially for an African country. Of course I can't live off it totally, but it's getting up there, you know, fingers crossed. I start making some money, like real money, like real money. Like, and that's going to be from like sponsors.
Okay. Awesome. Wow. Well, congratulations on being able to grow your channel and, you know, monetize it even more. And I'm sure you'll continue to just go up from here. So
honestly, thank you so much for that, your kind words and that little prayer. Yes, I need to go up. God will do it for me. God, do it for me. Hey, that's what I want. No, but seriously, like, I do feel like super blessed because my channel really did take a turn for the better. I almost said worse, a turn for the better when I relocated, because I do talk about Africa. So it makes sense that it's doing better now that I'm in an African country and I can talk about my experiences in this country, like, pretty candidly.
Absolutely. And so once things kind of open back up, what are you kind of planning on doing?
So when things open back up, what I want to do is I need to start traveling around other places in Nigeria. You know, a lot of people just focus on Lagos and Abuja, but it's time for me to look at other cities because honestly, Lagos is pretty stressful. And I know that I will always have a base here because you kind of have to. It's Lagos. I always have to have a base here, but I have no plans on living here like for the whole year. That's crazy, especially since, you know, God willing, if I can push this Africa agenda and help people return and do this, if I can actually build real businesses from what I'm doing, I can do that anywhere. I can do that anywhere. It just be, you know, on my husband and wherever he needs to be. That's where I would be too. So I don't need to be in Lagos, and I want to start seeing other parts of Nigeria. I also want to talk to I went traveling around Africa too, like even just go to Togo and Benin. They're like right next door. And maybe I can just drive. I wouldn't drive, but take a bus there and just maybe there's a returnee there too that I can meet. Like, it's time to see other parts of Africa. You know, I've been stuck here for a long time, months, just stuck in one place.
Man, see, that's the thing. Like, that's why I would really love to spend some time back home just so
Absolutely.
I can also travel around and see different countries. And so you mentioned like husband, what's like dating? Like, I think you mentioned like you went on like a date like earlier this year, right? Like, what was that like for you, or how are you navigating like meeting potential partners, or is that just not a thing?
No, I went on a couple more. I went on a couple more dates than one date, but it's very easy here. I'm going to be honest. I think dating here as a returning woman is a lot easier than it is dating as a returning man, because men here, since you're returning to patriarchy, right? You just have to watch out for the guys who are just too controlling, too much of everything. But you know, a lot of guys here, they feel like they should take care of everything. So if you're with anybody here, they're going to take care of everything. They don't really expect you to do anything. Even like, I remember I would tell guys like, oh, you know, I'm a lawyer and I'm doing this. They're like, okay, how are you supporting yourself? I'm a lawyer, I do this, and I also have this YouTube channel. And then they'll like take a look at my YouTube or take a look at, you know, one of my contracts or something. And they'll be like, look at you. Look at you. How cute you. Like, no, literally, they'd be like, oh, look at you doing something that you don't even need to be doing. Like, genuinely shocked that I'm working and genuinely like, wow, you do so much. That's so cute. But here's the thing about that, right? So when you're dating, it's fine if somebody doesn't really take you seriously or anything you're doing. It's like, who cares? But after a time, you have to kind of look to the future, right? Since I want to get married soon, God willing, I want to get married and hopefully God sends my husband my way. But until then, when you're looking towards the future, you kind of have to be careful, because if a guy is telling you in the beginning, a lot of men don't even expect you to work or do anything here. I'm just going to be honest. Like, it's really very interesting. If I genuinely did not want to work, I don't have to do anything. Maybe I'll have like a little grocery store or some shop to keep me busy, so I get out of the house or something, but I don't really have to do anything. And here's the bad side of that. It's good on one hand because it's like, okay, you have time to focus on something other than the family, but it's bad because it kind of suppresses a lot of women. Because if you're with a man, or if you're getting with a man, right? Like, okay, for example, one guy I was talking to, he's from my culture, he's Igbo, and he was saying, he's like, yeah, I think it's great that you're doing this, but he said, when you get married, you're gonna stop, right? Like, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, literally, they're like, yeah, you're gonna stop the YouTube thing. And I was like, I'm gonna stop?
What?
And then he said, yeah. He wasn't being mean or anything about it. It was just like facts. Like, yeah, you're doing it now, and that's nice, but I don't want my wife running around doing media. He's like, it's time for us to focus on the family. And that's what I mean by I don't have to work. I don't have to do anything. That means that if I get with somebody who's really like that mindset, then when I have kids or when I get married, then they're going to be putting pressure on me to stop doing this media thing. And that is kind of the downside to having like guy men here who are like, I don't want you to work at all. Like, why are you working? You don't need to work. You don't need to do anything. You can have that grocery store down the street. Like, who's going to watch the kids? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be kind of like that. That's what I'm telling you. So it's very interesting dating here, because on one hand, it's super easy because men are very aggressive. They'll approach you. They'll take care of everything. Whatever it is that you want, they'll take care of it. And the bad side to that is they don't want you to do anything. So I have to be careful of who I marry that's why I asked now, I'm like, well, dating and marriage, because, this whole COVID thing messed up any play time, right? But now I'm like, okay, let me just date for marriage, And now I'm asking those guys these questions, like, and then you would be surprised how many men who are doing really well. They have their own businesses. They're doing very well. They'll take you around to their businesses. They have the warehouse or whatever, who will tell me, I think what you're doing is nice, but you're going to stop if we get married. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's very common. It's very common. So I'm going to have to get with somebody, even if they don't take what I'm doing seriously, because honestly, it's going to be hard to find a Nigerian man who's going to be like, really serious about what I'm doing, which sounds bad, like a Nigerian man here in Nigeria who's going to be serious about what I'm doing, but I need one that's not going to actively work against me, who's not going to tell me, no, you're not going to do that, and then cause stress in the family, right? Because then if it comes down, you have to think about it. So that's these are the conversations that I'm having, and I think are very interesting, just because it's like, you really don't want me to do anything. Y'all don't want me to do nothing. So but look nice. That's it.
I do not rock with that.
Look nice and have kids, and then you can have a little grocery store or like a hair shop. That's why so many people have. This sounds kind of messed up, but haven't you noticed how many African women have grocery stores, little markets, or hair shops, nail shops? Haven't you? Like, I've noticed that before, and I thought it was this like common because it's an easy business to start. But it's honestly because the husband's like, yeah, you should do something, make some money that you can, if you want to. And just go out and go forth and do something. Hang outside the house. You can't be in the house all day, but that's
so. Do you think it's because of the specific type of work that you're doing, like media? Like, that's just not as respected. Like, let's say you were practicing law. Do you think you'd be having the same conversations?
Yeah, I would. They would be like, oh, so nice, you're a lawyer. That's good. Our kids would be very, very smart. But now that we're married, you don't have to do that anymore.
What?
Maybe if I was a doctor, maybe that's different. But I don't think so, honestly. I'm telling you. That's what I'm saying. Like, but this is, again, my perception of, because I also live in like the richer side of like, so men here have a little bit of money, whereas if, let's say, I was dating, I've not gone on a date with somebody who's like dead broke. I wouldn't even know what that, like, I haven't experienced, I wouldn't even know what that looked like here. Like, why are we talking? What's going on? But so that's what I'm saying, like the richer men who have businesses here, because you have to think of it from their point of view. It is kind of amazing, right? They want to have a wife who's intelligent. They want to have the wife who is, looks attracted to them. So really, as a woman, all you have to do here, this is going to sound kind of messed up, but I feel like you just have to have babies. Have a couple babies. I wouldn't even say you have to necessarily have a son, just because I feel like that need is kind of dying down. But let's say you have a couple babies for your husband. You just keep in shape, whatever size that he met you when he got married to you, keep that size as if you can. And look nice, carry a conversation, just be pleasant. That's it. That's all you need. You don't need to do anything else at all in any way.
Okay, so a part of me understands, because if that's just the norm,
it's Africa.
Yes, if that's just how people live and normally, relate with each other when they're, dating or getting married or whatever. Like if that's just how relationships work in general, like I can't, I guess, judge. But then again, it's like we need to have some sort of middle ground, because like I have, like, what if I have goals? Like, what if I want to, start really cool things when I move back home? Like, I'm not going to just put those dreams aside for the sake of,
family.
Right. Like,
so here's the thing about that. That's just my experience. I know, though, even through my experience, I know I'm going to find a man that's for me. And there's still, like, as we know, we've seen African couples who the one spouse does amazing things, the other spouse does amazing things. I think it's going to be slightly harder to find someone who's like on that vibe. And maybe it's because I do media, but I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe because it's like not that serious, or it's not considered that serious. But I've definitely had guys telling me, they're like, yeah, but when we get married, I mean, you're not going to do that anymore. Or one guy was like, yeah, you can get me. I mean, when we get married, you can absolutely, or if we get married, you can absolutely do that. But when we have a first kid, I mean, you're going to stop. So it's like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you see what, like, they're like, yeah, okay, yeah. But kid marriage, that you're done. What are you doing? Why are you doing this return to Africa thing? No. So that's the one thing that I'm kind of glad about, is that a lot of men here are pretty upfront. And even if they're married, they're going to tell you. If you ask, they're going to tell you. That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of these men here are upfront. So if you really want to know, they're going to tell you. Like, if you're like, okay, this is my career, and do you see us being together, and do you see me doing this long term, and let's talk about that. How is that going to look? Because that's important. It's good for me. Like, I've been doing this for a while. I would be shocked if I actually married somebody and they tried to make me stop doing this, because it just wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense to anybody. Even the most misogynistic of all men would be like, well, she was doing this for years before she met you. So I don't know why you thought it would stop because she married you. I do know that some of this career stuff does get stressful for women when they get married here. I would say that's that's the only really bad side.
Okay. Good to know. And I mean, I've come across like different women entrepreneurs who are based,
and they're married.
Yeah, and they're based on the continent or based in Nigeria. Yeah. So it's looks like it's possible.
Absolutely. I know it's possible.
Wow. Okay. I mean, you'll have to keep me updated. I'd love to, know once you're engaged or getting married. I'd be so happy.
I want to know too. I want to know too.
Oh, awesome. And so let's wrap up. And like, what's your biggest piece of advice for anyone that's thinking of, returning back home and just not knowing when like the right time really is? Like, is there like a right time? I'd love for you to kind of speak to that.
So what I'm going to tell you is that everyone has their own time. I felt like I really should have. My only regret in moving back is that I should have moved back earlier, honestly. So I'm going to tell you guys, when you guys are ready to move back, your mindset needs to be really strong. And you need to understand that you don't need to listen to anybody. Just do it. Just jump in and do it, because a lot of the advice people gave me, I didn't even, as soon as I landed, the way I've been experiencing life here is amazing. And I'm going to tell you guys that when you guys relocate, the way you're going to experience life is amazing, but your mindset needs to be there. Your mindset needs to be strong. You need to come out powerful. You need to come out like, I'm going to win. And just tell yourself that every single day, I'm going to win. Write it down. I'm going to win. This is the life I'm going to write down, the life that you want to have. Like, I want to have a certain amount of money each month. This is kind of the quality of life I want, and stay focused on that. And don't give up. Even if you run out of money and you have to go back to the US or Canada or UK, wherever you're from, just save that money again and try again. You know, like the only difference between, I'm telling you, these people who in 10 years have these multi-million-dollar businesses are the only difference between you and them is because they continued. Nothing to do with, oh, I ran out of money and this and that. Like, you have to stay, I think, flexible here. You have to stay positive, optimistic. I already know when a returnee is about to go home. Well, I already know when a returnee is going to return to the US. I already know when the returnee is going to move back to the US, and it's because when I listen to them and I'm talking to them, their tone is so down. They're so negative. Their mindset has weakened or cracked or whatever. Like, although I haven't been here up to a year, right? So I'm going to tell you guys, I've only been here for 10 months. I did move back by myself right before a pandemic. So I think I have the guts to stay in the next couple of years. I think I'm going to make it. I think I'm good. The only difference I feel like between me and other people is just my mindset. My mindset was set to win. I'm here to win, and that's that. And not only win in the way I want to win. I want to win with this Africa Focus YouTube channel. I want to win and connect African diaspora together. I want to win and help diaspora relocate to African countries. That is literally what I want to do. I even created a boot camp about it too, like a boot camp course. Yeah, like I've been doing that since Facebook kicked me off. I was like, well, I have to do something. And I created a boot camp course that people are in right now, and they're learning a lot. Like, I'm telling you, if you stay focused and you stay positive, money is just going to start flowing to you. If I listen to affirmations about money and positivity and life on YouTube, like for real, I'll just like close my eyes. I'll run it on my cell phone and I'll listen to it, and I'll listen to it every day. Like, that's how committed I am to my positive mindset or my money making mindset or whatever. Like, I feel like because I think it's possible and because my future is in Africa, I cannot move to the US. I cannot live there again. It's not the future. It'd be me stepping back. I'll be so depressed, man. Oh my gosh, I'd be so depressed. So I need to look forward. And that's what I'm gonna tell you guys to do. Stay positive, look forward, stay focused on your Africa dream. There's a reason you move back. Stay focused on that because you're gonna forget. So I'm gonna tell you, you need to write it down. Write down why you moved to Africa, why you're moving to Africa, and what you expect to achieve there, and your time frame for achieving that. You need to write it down in a notebook, and I want you to write it down all the time. And then let's say you stop writing it down. I want you to read it and remember, try to put yourself in that mindset of when you wrote it, because you're going to forget. It is very normal. It's a very human emotion to forget why you are there. You're going to forget. It's normal, especially when hard times come. It's normal, but you need to remind yourself. You have to constantly remind yourself. Just be aware. You're going to forget. Remind your mind. Your African dream is possible. You just have to believe it. If you want to come back, it's possible. You just have to believe it. Everything in the world, this is 2020. There was a worldwide pandemic that knocked down every country in the world. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. We go online, we read crazy stories of X, Y, and Z happening. Everything is possible. So why can't you build your Africa dream? Why is that not possible? It's possible. You have to believe, you have to stay focused, for real. Also, don't do business with family. I'm giving you some spirituality mindset thing, and then I'm going to give you an actual fact. Don't do no business with no family members here. I am sorry. I don't mean to be rude. I don't care what family member it is. Don't do business with family members. I've just seen too many returnees get chewed up, spat out. And then they're sucking on the bone marrow. No, don't do that. It's going to hasten your failure. Yeah, for real.
Wow. Thank you for that piece of advice. I mean, I feel like that's pretty universal.
But people forget. Like when they come here, it's as if they lose their mind. I'm like, why are you doing business with family? Like, no, don't do it.
Wow. And then lastly, how do people sign up for your boot camp if they want to participate?
So just head to, well, actually, okay, I have a YouTube channel. It's Iveoma, and just head there and go to the description box. I'm going to upload it on iveoma.com directly, but I just started it, so I was just like, doing whatever. But and then I closed out this group, but the next group is going to be it's going to be on iveoma.com. That's where it's going to be.
Yay. Awesome. Wow. Thank you so much, Iveoma. It was great catching up with you. I'm so happy to see that you're adjusting to being back in Lagos. Okay. And I just can look forward to continuing to watch your journey and support you and all those things. So
I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, I look forward to that too. I look forward to checking in with you again.
Awesome. Oh, yay. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Okay. Yes, learned a lot.
Okay, I'm glad.